It is Sunday. It is 6 a.m., 5:55. Yeah, we are here to do a push day, traditional bodybuilding push day today. Welcome back. Thank you so much for sticking with me. We are jumping back into the vlog series. We are going to bodybuild for a good chunk of this block. I'm doing, I don't even remember it, Raider by Bald Omni Man, who is a coach on YouTube. It is a 4-day-a-week bodybuilding program, upper, lower. Today seems to be a lot of push, maybe a little bit of biceps. I did legs yesterday, feeling good. Intensity, obviously, as a bodybuilding program, week 1 is a little bit lower. We're focused a little bit more on volume, which has been pretty good for the joints. Everything feels good. If you watch the body composition change video on Monday, you know bodybuilding is gonna set a firm foundation for the body composition change, the loss of 30 pounds, the gain of a little bit of muscle definition, flexibility, all that, without grinding myself into dirt, doing straight up powerlifting. You're gonna have to bear with me today. You know, I didn't get as much sleep as I would have liked last night, woke up a little bit on the wrong side of the bed, so I'm still just waking up a little bit. Got into the gym a little bit later than I would like, but we're here, we're gonna work. First and foremost, we've got incline bench press. It's written in the program as regular bench press. Again, to kind of keep the shoulders happy, to lean more towards the bodybuilding side of things. We're doing incline press. I believe it's 12 reps, so it's an RPE 7. We're gonna lean on our warm-ups a little bit to try and figure out where that is because I don't have a great frame of reference for that. All that being said, let's start the warm-up process. Can't say thank you enough for sticking with the channel. If you're here for the first time, you know, do what you want. Watch the video, see if you like it, subscribe. I've got to shift my mindset a little bit, obviously, with RPE in a bodybuilding context. Lean more on reps in reserve, reps left in the tank, than the, I guess, more primitive way that I look at RPE in powerlifting, where it's kind of like a gauge of difficulty, like a 7 out of 10, 8 out of 10, all that. So it's RPE 7, it's 12 reps. I'm kind of in the wilderness. I have really no idea where things need to be, but it is week 1. I always say, like, if you're a little shaky in your RPEs in your first week, you're still feeling out some new exercises, maybe in a new block of training, totally fine. You know, you're still, do your best to put forth great effort, do your best to get as close as you can to that RPE, but don't go crazy if you feel like maybe you left some reps in the tank. I would err on the side of caution rather than, you know, getting farther closer to failure with your RPEs in the first week, because you want to have room to grow through your first block of training, through your first wave, whatever it is. In my mind, I have somewhere between 185 and 195, but I have taken 2 months off. So I really don't know, you know, where my chest is. Is my shoulder going to hold up? So this should hopefully tell us a lot. Also, this is pretty darn low, but not a bad unrack. Yeah, but I mean, we're feeling a bit of that shoulder discomfort, but nothing too crazy. I think 185, because the program's written we do one top set at 185, and then I think it's like 85% of that for the next couple reps, so that's probably a safe bet. So we're going 12 reps here, trying to stay as strict as we can with our rep-to-rep execution. You know, putting ourselves in that bodybuilding mindset. It's all about rep quality. It's not about how much weight you lift. It's about how much mechanical tension, progressive overload, all that jazz. You know, all the buzzwords. Oh, I am feeling a little bit more groggy than I would like to today. So, all right. guys, I think that was pretty bang on. In terms of weight selection, felt about an RPE 7. One thing I will say, unfortunately, with my incline is I'm feeling a lot of tricep there and not a ton of pec. To be expected. With me, I'm a very tricep dominant presser. I've always had really solid triceps in comparison to my pecs. I mean, not something to super worry about. We are getting some pec activation, obviously. You can't really go through the press without it, but it is just something to note. I always try and take an inventory of what I'm feeling most on a lift after I'm done with it. You know, if I can. If it's an AMRAP, knockout, drag out type set, or I'm doing like a heavy single, it's a little bit harder to be like, you know, I really felt my quads in that max attempt squat. But on, you know, sets 10 to 15, you're usually gonna have a load that's light enough where you can dial into what your body's actually feeling. You just get so much benefit from building that library of understanding of exercises, so that if you're building your own program and you've got, you know, maybe 2 or 3 years under your belt of auditing exercises and, you know, taking into account what does what, you can go from a place of, okay, so I really want to get more, you know, chest or upper chest development. What exercises in the past have I really felt my chest activating? Like for me, if I wanted to bring my chest up, I don't know that I would have an incline press. I might have a dumbbell press so I can get a little bit more of a stretch, or a camber bar press, or even a pec fly. Because those 3 exercises I know through past training really light my chest up. The press is fun, and I do like to start with bigger movements because there is some tricep accessory work today. We're getting a little bit of front delt here, so you get a lot more bang for your buck. These are all things to consider with exercise selection. Super important. That I think hampers a lot of beginners because they think that they need this type of stuff, but they don't have the library. They don't have the back data to know what actually works for you. So if you're a beginner and you don't have that bedrock of knowledge, just pick anything. Within reason, obviously. You're not working for Cirque du Soleil. But any of these programs that you find on Boost Camp, that you find on, well, no, Boost Camp is my favorite, so we're going to stick with that. Also a sponsor of the channel. So you can check out 2 free weeks of Boost Camp in the description. But just pick anything, work hard. I'm rambling. I knew that was going to happen. My brain is half here, half in my bed. We're going to get to the back offs here after a quick rest. We're back with set number 2. Drop down to 155. That's 85% of our top set there. Definitely not feeling as much pop in the muscles, but I think I can attribute that to. It felt like I didn't get any less sleep. I committed the cardinal sin where my alarm went off at 4:50 and I snoozed it. And you know, once you get back into a little bit of that lighter kind of hazy sleep and then you wake back up, you just feel way worse than when you should have woken up. I know better than that, but you know, nobody's perfect. All right, second set. Well done. Now, having primed the chest with the heavier top set, opener set, I am, you know, feeling a little bit more. And just in my head, I'm a big believer in that mind-muscle connection. it helps me so much. So in my head, I'm just repeating, stretch, squeeze, stretch, squeeze. Just trying to get the most out of my chest as possible, because I know that my natural tendency is just to check out and allow my triceps to do a lot of the press. So you're really trying to stay present. Stretch, squeeze. Maybe it helps, maybe it doesn't, but might as well throw all my chips towards getting the most out of these exercises. All right, I have 2 more sets. I will film the last 4th and final set. We only got 10 reps in the last one. So we're gonna see how many we get on this one. But one thing is clear. I lost a little bit of strength in the 2-week gap, but I think the main thing that I lost was just the muscular endurance. Just the ability to like push past 10, 12 reps. Just doesn't seem to be there right now. So that's another thing that we've got to ease into and work on. Just building back that little bit of muscular endurance. So I'm trying to keep it at an RPE 7. So if 10 is an RPE 7, we cut it off there. If 12 is an RPE 7, we make it all the way through. That's difficult to do on the fly, and it's difficult to be incredibly honest with yourself, but I do feel like 10 reps in the last set what was a 7. We were pushing it. So we're gonna try and flush the results of the last set so that this set can be its own thing. I guess all I needed was an audience. No, I don't know. I took a little bit longer rest before that one, but I'm still, round about rep like 9. That bad boy really starts to burn, especially my right pec. I have a feeling because that was my right shoulder was the one that was hurting, and my right pec is really kind of overcompensating maybe, but just feeling a little, nothing to write home about, just something to keep in mind as the weeks go on. Okay, pressing portion is done. We're gonna move to the shoulder gauntlet, which is a couple exercises. I'll see you there. We got rear delt flies next. There are a number of different ways to do this exercise. You can do it standing, obviously, just bending over. I like to have the chest support. You know my feelings on taking as much strain off the lower back as possible. The main issue that I see a ton of people have with the rear delt is they're set up, they're ready to go, they're in a great position, they've got their dumbbells, and they're swinging. They're offering themselves no resistance on the negative. You move the weight. The weight doesn't move you, right? So everything is locked in here. We're up and we're down. We're up and we're down. Everything has to be locked in to get the most out of this exercise. Don't just shrug up and then let everything fall back down. You move the weight. So that's something that we're going to be keeping track of here. I think that this might be a little high. I'm going to drop it down 1. It's written as 10 to 15. Sorry for the incredible breathing noises that this is about to produce, because I'm going to be real close to the microphone here. Oh, yeah, 10 is kind of the top end there. Feeling a little bit of pinch in the trap. That's the other thing. It can be really difficult, especially with the dumbbells, to get this all the way on the rear delt. There's going to be a lot of trap involved. There's going to be a lot of shrugging. What I do, try your best to get into that arch position that you have with your bench, shoulder blades in your back pockets, and hold that so that you're more emphasizing the rear delt. It's really difficult. The body's going to take the path of least resistance. And if you're really pushing weight, you're going to get a lot of trap involvement. Not the worst thing in the world. Get a little carryover trap work, totally fine. But just know to really dial down, if we're going to be biomechanics about the whole thing and really emphasize that rear delt, maybe a little bit lighter. Lock those shoulders in and just be an automaton, trying to really emphasize that rear delt. Also, you can go palms in. I prefer to kind of go elbows or pinkies out. It's just a mental cue for me, drive through the pinkies. That really helps me engage my traps, or not my traps, Freudian slip, my rear delts. But whatever's comfortable. I really think there's a number of different ways you can approach this. I try and mimic the machine rear delt, and that's pinkies out, just to keep everything kind of in line and in the same vein training wise. But that's my own proclivities. I really don't think it's too much of a difference between pinkies out and palms in. Okay, we've got 2 more sets. I'll film the last one, maybe. We may just move on, I don't know. You've seen enough of the rear delts, maybe. We're next and final exercise in the shoulder gauntlet, lateral raises. As you know, the bane of my existence. So these are written as an AMRAP. When you're choosing weight for an AMRAP set, especially with an accessory movement, I think it's important to kind of give yourself a hard cap between 20 and 25 reps, right? I could choose 2.5 pounds and do 100 reps as an AMRAP. That does not feel efficient for me. Time in the gym, the stimulus that you're getting out of that, it just feels like a little bit excessive. So what I try and do is pick a weight that's going to approximate to an RPE 8 and then do my AMRAP. So for lateral raises, that's probably going to be 20 pounds. This way, I know that I'm getting a good stimulus, even if I only get to 12 reps, right? That's the deal. With an AMRAP, we're trying to get effective reps. And the effective reps are gonna come towards the end of the set. So if we're on rep 80 and it's really feeling like a breeze, we're not really performing the AMRAP the way that it is intended here. So here we go. Oof. There's that muscle endurance kicking in again. That was 16. So that's about where I thought it would be. You know, that 20 pounds, about an RPE 8 for me. Longer into the workout as well. So this is the third movement as opposed to first movement. I still hate that exercise, I'll tell you what. So in sets 2 and 3, the program is written that you take a third away. So it's not an AMRAP for set 2 and 3. I think you do 2/3 of the reps that you just did. Again, if I'm reading this program correctly, it's all about effective reps, which is reps closer to failure. And with the AMRAPs, you know, that's usually gonna happen last 3 or 4 reps, based on what I know, based on my personal experience. So all these calculations are going into weight selection. I have found with talking to people and coaching people, weight selection seems to be one of the more difficult and challenging things for new lifters, just because they're kind of out in the wilderness with it. They don't really have a guide So hopefully with my weight selection with the incline bench and with my weight selection with this, you'll kind of understand my process. Now my process is coming at it from more of an intermediate to advanced lifter, but you can dumb some of this stuff down. Basically, when in doubt, pick a weight that you can do the full amount of reps that you want to do, but that the last 3 to 4 reps are more challenging than the first 3 to 4 reps. That's a decent enough shorthand to get you started. And then you can start to, like I said, drill down. It's a pyramid. Build the base first and then drill down to the super specific stuff as you advance in your lifting career. But you can't build the pyramid unless you get started. And to get started, you need to understand the basic things. So last 3 to 4 reps, harder than the first 3 to 4 reps. You're pretty golden after that. All right, see you for the next exercise. Our bicep exercise of the day, preacher curl machine. I like this machine a lot. I think it gives me a really solid arm angle. I can really feel the squeeze on this one. Sometimes you just find a machine that really fits your body and allows you to really engage the muscles in the way that you want to. Yeah, that's one of the main reasons I really just love machines. And I think a lot of people, especially in the powerlifting world, kind of sleep on machine work because it's not, your big three, or it's not a barbell movement. But this machine fits my body so well that I'm able to just kind of check out of execution and really just focus on the squeeze, the stretch, just really feeling my biceps as much as possible. And that has been a real problem for me in the past. Just frankly, an inability to work my biceps effectively. And a lot of that is programming for sure. Coming from the powerlifting world, biceps, traditionally have not been something that powerlifters have really trained that often. I always try to throw some bicep work in, but usually it's towards the end of the workout. I'm done with, my bigger compound movement. I'm kind of fried. I'm not there mentally, all that stuff. These are all personal problems, obviously. If I wanted to, I could. But that's the main thing, is I really didn't want to. I don't really care about the size of my biceps. But the priority placement that they're given in this program, the shift in mindsets between powerlifting and bodybuilding, where you really shouldn't have any lagging body parts. You are naturally going to, but you really shouldn't. You should try to kind of get as much of an even physique as possible. Just that change in mindset has really allowed me to, so far, train my biceps a little bit more effectively. Now it's only been 2 weeks, so we'll see what happens. But all right, we've got a tricep AMRAP and then a push-up finisher, and then we're out of here. So should be fun. Same principle with the AMRAP here that we did with the lateral raises. We've got about 160 on here. That probably bears out to be like an RB7. In a rep range between 12 and 15, but we're not going to put a cap on ourselves. We're just going to kind of go and see how many we get. To be honest with you, I lost count on that one. I just started counting fours. So I think I got to 18. That felt pretty good. Honestly, what I'm trying to do is more of a technical AMRAP than anything else. Obviously, we're trying to approach absolute failure, but I don't want to, start my tricep press upright and then continue to lean, bring in a little bit more chest, you know, elongate the set just with biomechanics rather than with my actual muscular strength or endurance there. Again, I think that's against the spirit of what the program has written. So I felt myself on that last rep starting to kind of lean into it to get a little bit more out of it, and I was like, nah, you're done. You're probably done there. Take the win, move on. It's another way to look at things. You know, if this was a powerlifting program, maybe, you know, you cheat a little bit, you get a couple cheat reps in there, but week one, trying to set a standard for the rest of the training block that I can work off of, because a lot of this program's progression is based on reps and rep matching, especially in sets 2 and 3 of the AMRAPs. So I figure if I'm gonna, in week 4, try and stay as upright as possible, try and keep as much tension on the tricep as possible, I might as well set that foundation in week 1. Okay, we got a push-up variation for our last exercise, and then we're out of here. All right, I am 150% cooked, especially after the tricep AMRAP, but we've got extended push-ups. You can see how many, it's kind of a finisher, so we're just gonna go until basically technical failure. The reason we have the blocks here, obviously, is to get a little bit more stretch on the pec, just like we were talking about with the incline press. So this way we don't have the floor stopping us. We can get a little bit deeper into the stretch, get a little bit more out of our push-ups here. Oh boy, let's see how many we got here. Not bad. Oof. Yeah. Feeling a lot of tricep dominance today. So that's something I definitely want to keep in mind going forward, especially on my second upper body day. See if there's a couple pec movements, maybe a pec fly to throw in there to see if we can get a little bit more chest isolation. Not the worst thing in the world. Obviously, we're still getting chest work with the push-ups and with the incline press, but I do find that finding 1 or 2 movements throughout the training week that really isolates a muscle group that you're intent on working on can help. So that's something for me going forward. Thank you guys for watching. Welcome back. If you're new to the channel, go ahead and subscribe. We do these vlogs. We also do some educational videos. We've got a Discord channel where you can ask any and all questions pertaining to your training, nutrition, sleep, mentality, all that stuff. Click the link in the description for 2 weeks free of boost camp. You can run Raider, the program I'm running right now, or any number of incredible programs on there. That's all I got. Get strong and stay strong.